may consider it a curse. All right, Rabotai. Oh yeah, David was thinking I wouldn't be responsible for dinner. That's true. That's one benefit. Oh, we just went upside down. David, over there.
Are you covering the whole
Can we tighten this?
thing?
No. Can we tighten it? We did it last
Anything to do? No, I'm not going to interrupt you. I'm going to let you go through the whole class without.
I don't know why it's not. There's gemaras over
It's an
there.
Android.
Megillah. No, the holder is not working. Hold on. Gemaras. We have a few gemaras you can share.
Oh, wow.
Thank you, Ezra. Oh, okay. Yeah, it works. Gemara Megillah. Last week. Our amazing pizza shiur is sponsored by our friend Yariv in honor of Itai's birthday. Happy birthday, Itai. You have 10? Okay, so last week we did Daf Yod Amud Bet. We'll skip a little bit and we'll do Daf Yod Aleph. Daf Yod Aleph. So what did we do last week? Last week we started saying this phrase, which means each rabbi, when they started the purim shmuz, the purim dirasha, they would start with a pasuk from Tanakh, which they felt symbolizes purim. That's what we started last week. And so there's a lot of rabbis here. We'll skip most of them. Now, each rabbi had this certain pasuk where they felt it was about purim, and we'll skip ahead to page Yud Aleph Amud Aleph. Let's go to the first wide line. Daf Yud Aleph Amud Aleph. The first wide line. Resh Lakish. See any time? Resh Lakish. Any Persians here? All right, good. Insult some Persians. Resh Lakish patach lak pitcha lahai peshatam mehacha. Whenever Resh Lakish would give a derasha about Purim, he would start with this pasuk. It's a pasuk from Mishleh, from Proverbs. Ari Noham, a lion roars. Ari Nohem, sorry, a lion roars. Ve'dov shokek, and a bear growls. Moshel Rasha al Am Dal, and an evil person is ruling over a poor nation. That's what pasuk says in Mishleh, from Shalom Alamech. A lion roars, the bear growls, and an evil man is ruling over a poor nation. What does this mean? He says it's referring to Purim. Ari Nohem, a lion that roars, Zen Nebuchadnezzar Harasha. The lion is Nebuchadnezzar, who is from the Babylonian area. Because it says in Daniel calls Babel the lion. Allah Aryeh Misobecho. So the lion that roars was Nebuchadnezzar, who destroyed the Beit HaMikdash. Who's the bear? Dov Shokek, a bear that growls. Ze Ahashverosh. The bear is Ahashverosh. Why is Ahashverosh a bear? We'll see in a second. Because in Daniel, when Daniel interpreted the dreams with the four animals, he says, he said there's a bear, one of them was a bear. And the Persian Empire was compared to a bear. Why? V'tani Rabbi Yosef says, Elu Parsim, bears are like Persians. Don't take this home if you're married to a Persian. She'ochlin, or your in-laws. She'ochlin v'shotin kedov, because Persians eat and drink like bears. U'mesud balin basar kedov, and they're very fat like bears. U'megadolin se'ad kedov, and they're very hairy like bears.
Oh boy.
Ve'en lahem, one more. One more.
It's like a East Coast, West Coast.
Last one. I was trying to hold my laughter for the last one. Ve'en lahem minuha kedov, and they're restless like bears, ADHD. And so therefore, if you're going to compare a nationality to bears, he says it's got to be the Parsim.
Why speak in code?
So he's trying to say that each rabbi is trying to say that some random pasuk in Tanakh is secretly hinting to Purim's story. And so this pasuk that says a lion roars and a bear growls, who's the bear that's growling? No, each one had a pasuk that they felt was hinting.
So this is actually a pasuk.
It's a pasuk that says the lion has roars. The lion roars
Where does it say that?
in Mishlei. Shlomo HaMelech in Proverbs. A lion roars.
Oh, so they're interpreting it.
Yeah.
They say it. All right.
So the lion that roars is the Nebuchadnezzar. The bear that growls is the Persian. And who's the evil man over the poor nation? Moshel Rasha. Who's the evil man? The evil man is Haman. Haman was the evil man. He wasn't the king, so that he'll be the man. Moshel Adam. Moshel Rasha, evil man. Ze Haman. And who's the poor nation? Alam Dal, on the poor nation, Elu Israel. It's talking about the Jewish people during that time that we were poor. Monetarily poor? No. Shehem Dalim Mina Mitzvot. We were poor from mitzvot. Okay? Moshe, you got it?
Got it.
So, us. So, the Pasuk in Mishlei says, Ari Nohem. The lion roars is talking about Nebuchadnezzar. And the bear growls is the Persians, because the Persians are like bears. And an evil man, which is Haman, ruled on a poor nation, which is us. That's the pasuk he chose when he talked about purim. That's Rish Lakish. Rabbi Elazar had a different pasuk that he chose to start his purim dirasha. Rabbi Elazar patach pitha laha pashda mehacha. This is the pasuk he chose. This pasuk is in Kohelet, and it goes like this. Ba'atzaltim yimach hamikareh. What? No, it's not Ba'atzaltim. It's Ba'atzaltim. I believe it's Ba'atzaltim. Ba'atzaltim yimach hamikareh.
What's the meaning?
With laziness, the roof is caving in because of laziness. Huh? I don't think it is. Check it out. Kohelet, page, chapter 10. Look it up. You guys checking first. Where are you going to find Kohelet? You have to look on your phone.
If you miss it, Persians are like bears. That's what I got.
That's it. Are you related to any Persians, Avi?
I think we're all related to certain Persians.
Not all of us.
No,
not me and you. We're in group only, inbred. I think it's Ba'atzaltim, but I could be wrong. Anyway, what does the pasuk say? Ba'atzaltim yimach hamikareh. Because of laziness, the roof is sagging. This is Shlomo HaMelech was saying. Ubshiflut yadayim yidlof habayit. And because of lazy hands, the house, the house is caving in. That's the time? Okay, I think look at Safaria. What does it say for Yidlof? I think it says cave.
Either way, bad things are happening.
Cave, yeah. Either way, whatever. Bad things. Bad things are happening. Thank you. Okay, because of laziness. So why would this pasuk be talking about Purim? It says Bishpil atzlut she'aya lahem Yisrael, because of the laziness of the Jewish people. Shelo asku b'Torah, because we didn't study Torah properly in the time of Haman. The enemy of Hashem became poor. Who's the enemy of Hashem? Whenever it says the enemy of Hashem, it's a euphemism for the friend of Hashem. No, the rabbis never like to say bad things, so they twist it and they say the enemy of Hashem became poor. It's us. It's talking about the friend of Hashem. You understand? So
how can it be? It says because we are lazy and we don't study Torah, then our enemies will be weaker?
no, when it says enemies, help me out, Moshe. How do you say it in Hebrew? Saginahor, exactly.
double speak.
It doesn't want to say it, so it says it in code, in the other way. We become poor when we're lazy in Torah. What does it mean, poor? In Mach, what does the word Mach means poor? How do you know? Mach. That's right. In Mach ila'ani, Mach means poor. Shne'amad ve'imachu me'erkecha. Choose a different pasuk from the Torah. Mach means poor. And what is, so the ceiling caves in. The ceiling sags. Who's the ceiling? The ceiling is Hashem. Ve'en mekare ela kadosh baruch hu. The roof is Hashem. Shne'amad hamkareh b'mayim aliyotav. Hashem is the one who puts water as his ceiling. Hashem resides in the waters that are above. And so Hashem is, so what does it mean in the pasuk? because of our laziness, the ceiling is caving in on us, which means Hashem is coming down on us. And so to speak, we sort of deserve what happened with Haman. Hashem, when he created the world, it was all water, right? And he divided the waters into the upper water, the rakia, the upper waters and the lower waters. Where with the lower waters? Us are with the lower waters. And Hashem is, so to speak, up above. I mean, he's everywhere, but so to speak, he's up, kaviyachol, he's up above with the higher waters.
Actually, I heard once that Shemayim is Esh and Mayim.
Very nice, yeah. I mean, Hashem is not, I personally,
Shemayim, Esh and Mayim.
Ben Yehoyada, Sham Mayim. Ben Yehoyada says, by the Ben Ish Chai, he says, you know, in Ashereh, there's one pasuk that's missing. Ashereh is alphabet, right? It's acrostic. Alphabet. It's missing the nun, right? Because we don't have falling, right? Malchutecha, Malchut Olamim, right? Avi, you ever catch that in alphabet of Ashereh? What's the aleph of Ashereh? Here's a trick question, guys. What's the aleph of the Ashereh?
What does it stand for?
Which pasuk is the aleph?
Oh, which pasuk is Mishlei?
No. Shaarey Yerushalayim has the aleph there.
Right.
Which pasuk is the aleph? Right?
The first pasuk.
Which what? What?
The third pasuk.
Which is what? No.
I don't understand the question, but David already answered. To share with me the answer, maybe I'll understand the question.
Shaarey Yerushalayim is an aleph bet format. I mean, it's a very simple question. Which pasuk is the aleph?
First.
What is that pasuk? No, it's not part of the Tehillim. Shaarey Yerushalayim is from a different Tehillim. Adom Emcha is how it begins. Very good, David. Adom Emcha. Shaarey Yerushalayim is a different Tehillim. Okay. Adom Emcha is aleph. Bechol Yom B'Adecheka is bet. Gadol is gimel. We do all one, but we don't do nun. There's no nun. We skip it. Malchutecha, Malchut Olamim, Mem, and then we go straight to Somech. So the Gemara Berachot says, the nun is there, but Hashem just reversed it. He put the Samach first. Somech Hashem lechol hanofelim. The nun and nofelim is just after the Samach. Why? Because anytime Hashem wants to make us fall, he's going to put the simicha first. He's going to save us.
There's a remedy already in place.
Right? So said the Beish Hai, Samach, I once gave a shiur to the ladies, but you were there, Yaris. Samach signifies Hashem helping us. Samach is also round. I think the Chidah says it's like a ring. It's Hashem's ring is a samach. Samach, rings are very powerful because it's a samach. It means I'm there for you. Yeah? The letter samach. And also we know the world goes around and the whole concept, okay, fine. And life goes up and down. Samach is a very good letter. Nun is known as usually, not always, not such a good letter. Haman wanted to hang Mordechai on a nun ama pole. I know you have I know what you're thinking. The nun is hafuk. It's upside down. That's a remedy. It's a tikkun for but nun is nahash.
It's also to separate it as a sefer by
There was also problems. That was talking about big problems there, right? It wasn't a good story. Nun is also the nahash, the snake in Garden of Eden. Nun, nahash, 50. Huh? Uh-oh. Where's Yossi when I need him?
There's a bunch of great words. Ne'ilah. There's a bunch of great words.
Ne'ilah means to close. Ne'ilah means to close. To slam that door, man. Ne'ilah is only good. Avi, hold on. You could, but hold on. Ne'ilah is only good in your mind because get your last prayer in before he closes the door in your face. It would be better if there was no Ne'ilah and the door would always be open. Nahat is to rest. We don't rest in this world. No, I'm joking. I'm just messing with you. I'm just messing. Nun in general, you're right. There's good words. There's letters that go both ways. A wordsmith would be better at this than me. But in general, nun is a word that's for nifila, nahash, and 50. The number 50, you know, we have 50 levels of binah, but there's also 50 levels that go down. We were almost there. Yeah. So what are we saying here? So it says in Beish Hai, Samach is the reliance. Samach is when Hashem says, lean on me, I'm here for you. But you have to earn the Samach. You earn it by following his Torah. If you don't earn the Samach, he'll take away the Samach. If you spell the word samach, spell it.
Samach, Mem, Chaf, Sof.
If you take away the samach from the word samach, you're left mach. You become poor. Got it, Yariv? So Hashem takes away the samach, you become mach. You become poor. It's your fault because you should have studied Torah. Why is the samach? Yeah, now talking money. Why is the samach Torah? Because Shisha said the Mishnah. This is Shas. The samach, there's also 60. It says. So the samach, always 6 and 60 signify Torah learning. Yeah. Okay.
Ask you a question.
Yeah.
I like gematria too, but isn't it a point? I start seeing people like connect things with numbers, and I'm like, okay, I can put that into it, right? It's just like they start connecting.
Absolutely.
To a point of like, oh, you did this, you did that. The number that like it starts becoming.
You're right, Avi. Gematria. There's a place for everything in the religion.
Nonsensical, but almost like I can use the numbers.
I agree with you 100%. I'm not the biggest gematria fan. Trust me. Gematria is, how do they say it? Parpiraot, the chokhmah? Parpiraot, the chokhmah. Gematria is not the main meal.
Like little,
it's a taste. It's appetizer.
little nibble food.
It's not the main dish. If gematria is your main dish, you're probably pretty shallow, in my opinion. Gematria has a beautiful cherry on top. So when you have a gemara here, where they have a lot of interesting things, and then comes the Ben Shai, and he adds a little, it's like the chocolate shavings that you sprinkle on top of the cake. That's the gematria. It just adds a little more meaning to it. It's not the main dish. I'm with you on that.
I think gematria, which is basically porperot, I think to add on basically what Max said, but maybe some different words, is gematria is the supporting tool to something that you have to see first. So if you see like a certain, I don't know, mitzvah and certain things, and then the otiyot connect and give you the gematria, you say, okay, here's the in for what I see. But to make a gematria from something that's not there.
Within itself. I'm the same way. My wife always tells me, every time I give a shiur and she hears I gave a gematria, she's like, aren't you anti-gematria? She always tells me, I am, when someone sends a WhatsApp message, and the WhatsApp message says, Saddam Hussein gematria Amalek. I'm like, thank you. What do I do with, like, delete? What do you want me to do with this?
Right.
Like, if that's all you have, or 5784, the year.
Gematria for literally 1,000 other.
Right. So that I'm with you. I will roll my eyes. It doesn't. Exactly. It doesn't do anything for me. But when you give me a beautiful Divat Torah with actual substance, something I can chew on, and something I can think about, and then you sprinkle a gematria on top, it makes me very happy.
I tend to zone out when the entire thing is.
I agree.
This number and that number and this number, and it's like.
Agreed. That's why, if you notice, I always put the gematria less.
And also one more thing, and this is kind of a question. It's a statement with a question mark. Gematria is only gematria if it's really where it came from, the Kabbalah, Ruach HaKodesh, and not people just trying to add letters and to come up with concepts.
What's the number?
Am I right? Is the source
The gematria of gematria.
is the source of gematria is Kabbalistic?
No, there is gematria and gemara. There is. I'll give you an example. Here's an example that's relevant to this week. I was thinking about maybe using this in the ladies' class. But Shlomo HaMelech, he built it. I do a lot. It's parpira'ot lehokma. It's finishing touches. Mamash, like that's how I think of it. Like the shaving, the chocolate shavings. One quick one. We'll go off topic. This week's parasha, we're talking about the obviously the temple, the Mishkan, the menorah. Last week's parasha we said the menorah, and this week we say light the menorah. How many menorahs was there in the Mishkan?
How many menorah?
Yeah.
8. I mean, no, 7. 7.
How many?
No. How many actual menorahs?
One.
One.
One menorah.
How many menorahs were there in Shlomo HaMelech's temple?
In Shlomo HaMelech?
I need one menorah.
Should have been menorah in Shlomo HaMelech.
Something like I saw somewhere that said it was 2 or
I'm gonna go with 7.
In Shlomo HaMelech's temple, How many menorahs were there? In the Beit
Common
HaMikdash?
sense says should have been one.
No, there were.
Nobody knows.
Oh, one they brought from the.
We just did Haftarah last week. If you just have to read a little past where we finished the Haftarah. 10 menorahs.
Oh, of course.
Oh,
Why did he do 10? Where did you get 10 from? And so what's the pshat? The pshat is, it says the word, it says a word, I forget the word, but there's a yud by the menorah. I forget the word. They add a yud to the word. The yud is 10. So it must be, there should be 10 menorahs. That's one pshat they give. So that's a gematria. Me'ah berachot is not really, that's al tikreh. Al tikreh ma ila me'ah. That's an al tikreh, it's a different rule. But anyway, the gematria, there is gematria. There is room for gematria, just don't abuse it. And WhatsApp messages, they annoy you.
Oh,
They just annoy me.
that's not good enough. That's people telling me that.
One guy sent out when the war, I'll never forget, when the war on October 7th, so one guy sent out a whole thing, and he says, the gematria of this is milchama. And I'm looking at it. The guy, I'm like, dude, you spelled milchama with a chaf instead of a chet. You spelled the word. You spelled the word. Nope. Like 50% of the people that get the WhatsApp have no clue. Like you can't do that. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Next. Let's move on. Next pasuk. Ram Nachman bar Yitzhak. He had a favorite pasuk also that he used to introduce his shiurim for purim. This was his pasuk. Shira ma'alot, Lulei Hashem shehaya lanu yomana Yisrael. Shira ma'alot. We wish Hashem would be with us, says the Jews. Lulei Hashem shehaya lanu bukum alenu adam. We wish Hashem would be with us when a man comes against us. What's so special about this pasuk? When he's what? When there's no milchama. Even better? What? Yeah. Then he wouldn't be with us. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but we say it twice. And also, Adam. Why is Muhammad Ishaq picking this pasuk? What's so special? I hear you. That makes sense. There's another diuk here. A lot of times, who has the power to fight against us? Other kings. It should say Bukum Alenu Melech. Bukum Alenu Rasha. It says Bukum Alenu Adam, a person. It makes it seem like a regular citizen is going to threaten our society. And that's why it says Adam bin lo Melech. Who's the only person that threatened all of Jews? And he wasn't a king. Haman. He was an Adam. He was a person. He wasn't a Melech. So it must be. Huh? And Hamas, yeah, we don't know what they are, but they're not, thank God, not threatening all of us. And that's why he said this pasuk must be talking about Haman. Who else could a man, just a regular man, threatening us? Rabbah patach la pithat. By the way, Hitler was a melech. He was the prime minister. By the way, it would be remiss if I didn't tell you. Although I'm not going to give you the whole thing because honestly, I don't know the whole thing. But I'll give you just a little thing. Because I don't think it's fair not to. There is a massive, I wish Yaniv Levy was here because he asked me once about this. There's a whole massive thing about which name is holier. Mordechai, I feel like you would know this. Adam, Ish, Geber, there's levels. All these words mean man, right? Which one is a better, holier word? Adam, what's better, to be called Adam or Ish or Geber and all this? You familiar with this?
I think Adam
Is
I'm not gonna. I don't because it says ish for bad people too. Anyway, Adam is usually reserved for good. Adam is usually reserved for a good person. Adam, the word Adam, and there is a whole discussion here about how Haman can be called Adam, which I don't know. Ben Adam, yeah, it's a good person. So I don't know because I'm still working on them on my own, so I'm not gonna. But I just wanted to give you that little sprinkle. Okay, let's move forward in the Gemara. So the Gemara says, Rabbah would always start with this pasuk. Ready for this pasuk? This is from Mishlei again. This one goes like this: Birbot tzadikim yismach ha'am. When the righteous people increase, everyone will be happy. Ubimshol rasha yi'anach am. And when a rasha, a wicked person, rules, everyone groans. Yi'anach am. This is what the pasuk means, he says. Birbot tzadikim yismach ha'am. When the righteous people increase, everyone's happy. Say Mordechai ve'Esther. And Mordechai and Esther took over at the end of the story. Dichtiv, ve'ayi Shushan sala v'samecha. Shushan, everyone was very happy when Mordechai and Esther were in charge. Ubimshol rasha ya'anach am. When a wicked person rules, everyone groans. Zeh Haman. It's talking about Haman. Dichtiv, ve'ayi Shushan nabocha. When Haman was in charge, everyone was down. Says the Ben Ish Chai, a little Kabbalah for you, Avi. This is a little Kabbalistic. Says the Ben Ish Chai, when Mordechai and Esther rule, there's simcha. When Haman rules, there's no simcha. There's anaha. Ben Ish Chai says there are names we use for the bad side. Sitra ahara, for the tameh, for the impure side. Not the names of the angels I'm talking about. Descriptors of how we feel. We say, V'aser mimenu yagon va'anaha. What is yagon and anaha? Says in Ben Ish Chai, these are adjectives for the traits of the bad side. When the bad side's in charge, it's yagon and anaha. Yagon is lashon zachar, it's the male version, the male traits, and anaha would be the female version, says the Ben Ish Chai. Now, how do we defeat this? It says, ad yochal teref, or miteref bini alita, in the blessings, it calls the word teref. Teref, he says, is 289 in the blessing miteref bini alita. When in the beracha and the children. Yeah. By the way, there's something completely wacko on that. Avi, you're gonna hear it, but I'll tell you something you probably never heard in your life on this. Binyamin's blessing is what? Miteref bini alita. Could someone read the whole pasuk? Baboked yochal ad v'ra'ered. How does it go? Exact words. In the morning he eats, and in the night he rips apart things. This is going to be crazy. I don't think you've ever heard this in your life. There's a rabbi by the name of Rabbeinu Ephraim. Rabbeinu Ephraim, he's known to have some interesting, out there explanations on the Chumash. What does he say? He says there's a tradition that Binyamin, who's compared to what is Binyamin compared to? A wolf? You know this, Itai? How do you know this? You know this? Binyamin, he says, was a werewolf.
Oh, himself.
Himself was a werewolf.
You're right. We never.
And at nighttime, he turned into a wolf. And in the day, you with me still?
I don't know.
In the daytime, he was a regular person. So Yaakov was saying, "Miteref b'ni alita, babocha yochal ad v'la'ered ye in something." And so it said. So Hugh Jackman wasn't the first werewolf. There's another werewolf before. It's really out there.
That's what I say also. That
Can you believe it?
I don't. That's a little too much for me. Okay. So anyway, teref. The word teref, 289. Back to gematria. 289 teref. The Ben Ish Chai says the way to defeat the sitra hara, the bad side. Halek shalal. Yeah, there you go. I should know that. The way to defeat the sitra hara is by learning Torah. It's a Hasidic thing. They always say it's clarifying the spark. Yeah, by feet. You ever hear the Hasidim say they're clarifying the David? You know this. The nitzotzot. There's nitzotzot. There's sparks of holiness hidden around. And if we do something, so let's say there was a spark of holiness in this cup, and when I made shakol, I elevated that spark. I sort of redeemed it.
That's why
Like Jewish folk make up.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why they like to be ochlim shiurei seudah shel Rebbe.
Yeah. Also, they go to far out places because maybe there's a spark hidden somewhere in Oklahoma, and I can put tefillin on a guy in Oklahoma, and I just got that spark. And it's sort of like, yeah, it's like Pokemon. If you get all the sparks, Mashiach comes, sort of a thing. I'm simplifying. So, but it is a real concept in Kabbalah that there are nitzotzot.
And if you overeat, you actually take it away.
Oh man. So it says in Beis Chai, there are 289 sparks that the female version. Did I? The female version of Sitra Hara has dominion over, and we have to be mevarer these things. That's teref. Teref is 289. And so when you do that, you take the word teref, which is 289, you take the word anaha. Anaha is, how much is anaha?
50, 63, 64. 64.
Add them together, you should have the word simcha, happiness.
289 and 64.
You should.
355.
And that's why he says, Mishinichnas Adar Malbim Besimcha. Benahafofu. We flip it to happiness by learning Torah.
355.
Kimu v'kiblu. Don't forget, Purim is another Shavuot.
353.
If the math is off, I'm sorry. It's in the Benyamah. It's in the Sefer right here. Purim is another. It works. Baruch Hashem. Purim is another Matan Torah. It's all about Torah learning. Kimu v'kiblu Yehudim. The whole Purim is about Torah. Okay, let's go further. Next one. Rav Matna Amar Mehacha. Rav Matna says, let's use this pasuk. Ki mi goy gadol asher lo Elohim kirovim elav. Who is a great nation that has Hashem next to them all the time? Rav Ashi Amar Mehacha. Rav Ashi says from this one. O hanisa Elohim v'gomet, and the pasuk says, Labo lakachat lo goy mekerev goy. Hashem took a nation within a nation. There's a lot of stuff here, but I actually want to move on. I want to get to the first pasuk. Let's go to the first pasuk in Megillah. Says the Gemara, Vayhi bimei Ahashverosh. It was in the days of Ahashverosh. So last week we talked about the words Vayhi bimei. Being anytime there's a Vayhi bimei, it's a bad thing. What about the name Ahashverosh? It says the Gemara, Amara. What does Ahashverosh means? First of all, it says Vayhi, which is Vay and He. Vai means woe, and he means mourning. So that's Vayhi. What a horrible time. It's the curses, the kelalot, where if you'll be sold to the nations, which is Ahashverosh, which Shmuel says, Lo me'astim v'lo ge'atim l'chalotam. The Hashem says, even when I sell you out, I'm never going to be disgusted to finish you off completely. Lo me'astim, I'll never be disgusted. Bimei Yavanim, in the days of the Greeks, by Hanukkah. V'lo ge'atim bimei Nebuchadnezzar. I will never be ge'atim. Give me a good one for ge'atim. I'll never be
Turned off by
okay, that works. Ge'atim bimei Nebuchadnezzar, in the days of the Babylonians. The chalotam, to finish you off, bimei Haman. In the days of Haman, I'll never finish you off. Le'afed b'leiti itam, I will never annul my covenant with you. What's that? Bimei Parsim, in the times of the Parsim, some people change this to the Romans. Ki ani Hashem Elohim, because I am Hashem your God. When is that one? Bimei Gog uMagog b'Mashiach. Hashem is never going to let us finish all the way. He'll always save us. B'matnita Tana, we learn a little bit different. Lo me'astim bimei Kastim. And Daniel is the times of Kastim. She'amarti lehem Daniel Hanan Meshev Azariah. V'lo ge'atim bimei Yavanim. A little different. She'amarti lehem Shimon HaTzadik v'Hashmonai u'banav u'Matitya Kohen Gadol. V'chalotam bimei Haman. She'amarti lehem Mordechai v'Esther v'afeh b'leiti itam bimei Parsim. She'amarti lehem shel bet Rebbe v'Chachamei Dorot. I said some people change that to the Romans. Ki ani Hashem Eloheim le'atil labo Mashiach she'en kol umah v'lashon yichula l'shlot b'hem. No one will ever finish us off. Okay? Rabbi Levi Amar Mehacha v'im lo torishu et yoshevei ha'aretz. That was his pasuk. Right, Itai? That's his pasuk. What is the pasuk saying? V'im lo torishu et yoshevei ha'aretz. If you don't finish off the people when you go in, they will finish you off. You should have finished off who? Agag. You didn't finish off Agag. Shaul had mercy on Agag and didn't kill him. We have Haman because of that.
No, but the origin of the pasuk is Lo Torishu Yoshev Haaretz Kenan, Sheba Olam.
Yeah, but that's what does that do with Purim? Haman. That's what Haman. Agag. But didn't they say the same thing happened?
Huh?
I was reading from the Israeli side on October 7th. Okay, so we know Agag. Shaul didn't kill him,
Right.
and some lady snuck into the jail cell, was with him,
He met Shivcha.
and she got pregnant, and now we have Haman later. And
Right.
even though he was killed the next day by Shemuel.
Huh?
What did he say?
Then again, you can say that that's a positive
זה סוג של גימטריה של...
without it. And then people-
Very good. The Gemara says exactly what you're saying.
What is that? What?
Say it again, Avi.
So the whole point of purim, it's like nothing bad actually happened, except it's if Haman wasn't born, then they wouldn't be purim. We wouldn't talk about it. We wouldn't celebrate it. There wouldn't be this miracle. It would just be Monday.
Very good.
So the fact that it actually happened.
Yeah, so the Gemara says exactly what he's saying. It's a mahloket. Ask him. Ask him.
So we're basically celebrating a big morning.
What he's saying, the Gemara, there's an argument in the Gemara. Some people say like he's saying, that it should be a good thing. It's the Gemara says this. The Gemara says, yes, Mordechai.
There was no Haman, would have been another.
Yeah, there's always going to be a Haman. B'chol davador, yes. But some people said, so when they looked at Haman, like you're saying, Avi, when they looked at Haman, some people said, man, Binyamin, what'd you do to us? Shaul HaMelech, why'd you have to not kill Agag? You should have killed Agag, there would be no Haman. Shaul's from Binyamin. So we blame all these problems on Binyamin. Some other people said, Mordechai, it's all your fault. Why don't you just bow down to the guy, right? A lot of people would say that these days, if they were in politics. Just imagine for a second. God forbid Biden was, if you just bow down to Biden, everything will be okay. And some rabbi says, I'm not bowing. Some Meir Kahana type. Yeah, I'm not bowing. I can see a lot of people, just do what you got to do. It's politics. So some people were mad at Mordechai. Huh?
They actually voted 99 out of 120. That they're not
Listen to who?
They're not bowing down. 99 out of 100.
He wants to form a Palestinian state. Right. So what he's saying.
That's what he's saying.
99 out of 120 voted against it.
Very good.
So.
Okay, let's go forward. So Ahashverosh, we're talking about his name.
But the concept that we said, we always said that Amalek existed in this world for us.
Yeah, that's what Avi's saying. It's really good. It's
in general.
Every opponent is good, really. You have an opponent, it makes you better.
So I would rephrase it a little bit.
Challenge.
That opponent brings us to a good end result, but the derech is terrible. And the right way should have been that we would have done it out of choice, that we didn't need to have the opponent.
The Gemara says, Gadol Hasarat, right? The removal of the ring from Ahashverosh's finger, Gemara says this here, is greater than the 48 prophets, right? Let's go forward. Ahashverosh.
Because nothing resonated like that one act where they were fearing for their life.
Yeah.
By the way, the same thing, October 7th, we were on the verge of killing each
It's
other.
the smack. And when when your parents smack, there's a story. Mordechai, you ever heard this story before about the guy on the roof with the money? You ever heard this, Mashal, before? You have a guy who's on the roof and he's locked behind him. So he locked the door behind himself. So he's stuck on the roof of like 200, you know this one? With the money? Like 200 floor building. And he's locked. That's it. He's yelling down. He sees people walking down. He's yelling, somebody help me. No one can hear him. In his wallet, he has 2,000 bucks. What does he do?
Start throwing
Throw money. People gotta. So he starts throwing some dollar bills, and he's watching. And people, oh, look, a dollar bill. They put it in their pocket. Nobody looks up. He says, let me throw some more money. He throws some hundreds this time. You see some people say, oh, look, hundreds. Everyone's grabbing the money. No one's looking. Who threw the money? He empties all. He's like, I'm gonna throw all my money. Someone has to say who's throwing the money. He throws all the money out one shot. All the money comes down. Everybody's collecting all the money, and they can move on their life. So he said, it's unbelievable. How do I get to, I have no more money. So he sees a rock. He takes the rock. He throws it at some guy's head. Or he looks up, hey, who did that? That's the, right, the mashal. Hashem, he gives you good times, good times, good times. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. You don't look up. Who gave me the good time? You get 48 prophets. You don't look up. I'll give you a smack on your head. You'll look up. Hey, what'd you do that for? One Haman that does more than 48 prophets, unfortunately. Okay, Ahashverosh. What does the name Ahashverosh mean? Amarav, Rav says, Ahiv Shel Rosh. He's the brother of the head. Uben Gilo Shel Rosh. And he's the mate. He's the match of the head. Who's the head? Yeah. Ahiv Shel Rosh, the brother of the head. Ahiv Shel Nebuchadnezzar HaRasha. He's the brother of Nebuchadnezzar. Shenekra Rosh, as he's called Rosh. Daniel calls him the head. Shneemar Antu Resha Didahaba. In the dream he had, you're the head. So Nebuchadnezzar is the head, and he was just like him. Ben Gilo Shel Rosh, he's the match, the mate of the Rosh. Who harag, Nebuchadnezzar killed, who bikesh la'arog, and he tried to kill. He was just like him. Who ehriv, he destroyed the Beit HaMikdash, who bikesh la'achriv, he wanted to destroy Ashneemar. ובמלכות אחשוורוש בתחילת מלכותו כתבו שטנה על יושבי יהודה וירושלים. It says this in Ezra, in the beginning of his reign. So in Ezra, he really can talk bad about Ahashverosh. Like we said last week, in Megillat Esther, they can't talk bad about Ahashverosh. They can't. He's watching every move they make. So Megillat Esther is never going to make him look like the bad guy he was. That's why in every Purim play, he's some jolly king. He's like an idiot. They make him like a fool. He's not a fool. He was a terrible person.
He said that the Mishtei was wearing the big death point on the
Yeah, right here.
He was
Right here.
bringing the 5,000.
Right here.
5,000.
Right here. Shmuel Amar, Shmuel says, why was it Ahashverosh? Shehushheru penehem shel Yisrael bi'amav keshule kedera. Because the faces of the Jewish people were black in his days, like the remnants in a pot that burnt. Like if you burnt something, the part that's sticking to the bottom that's black, so too our faces were black. That's how bad it was under Ahashverosh.
That's before the story.
That was before Haman. Ben Ishai says, why do you gotta give me a mashal of a pot? Just say it was black. It's not enough to say our faces were black. Ahashverosh. Oh, the Shahor, black. They called him the black guy because he made us black. Why do you have to say the pot? So it says the Ben Ishai, if you take the word kedera and you move up one letter, each one. Yeah, no, kedera, each letter, you move it up one. The kof becomes a resh, the dalet becomes a, not in order though. The dalet becomes a he, the yod becomes a chaf, and the he becomes a vav. You have the word shikora. Shikora means we were black, but we were like drunk. Hashem treated us like we were drunk. If someone's drunk and they do things when they're drunk, you say, oh, he's just a drunkard. It's not like a pesha. It's almost like he's drunk. So too, we were drunk. We didn't do what we were supposed to do, but Hashem had a little mercy on us. He treated us like a shikora, says the Ben Ishai. Okay. Rabbi Yohanan says, no, you know why his name was Ahashverosh? Anytime they said his name, they said, woe unto his head. They cursed him, like everything. The guy's name basically became Yamah Shemo. But Rabbi Hanina says that the different name, his name was Ahashverosh. Everyone became poor in his life. He was a big taxation, he was a big taxer. He put a tax, which means he enjoyed taxing us and he made us poor. At the end, yeah. Imagine how much more in the beginning. Who Ahashverosh, right? Vahi b'mei Ahashverosh. Who Ahashverosh? It was, and it is Ahashverosh. He was Ahashverosh. What do you guys say that for? Who b'resh'o metechilato ve'atzofo. Anytime it says that, it means that's the way he was from beginning to end. For example, who Esav? Esav hu Edom. It says he is him. Who b'resh'o metechilato ve'atzofo. He was bad from beginning to end. Who Datan ve'Abiram. And Bidishan, Metechinatan ve'atzofan. Who HaMelech Ahaz, the king Ahaz, who Bidishon, Metechinato ve'atzofo. Avram hu Avraham. Where does it say this?
Avram.
Not in Chumash. It's in Divrei Hayamim. Avram hu Avraham hu besidko mitihilata ve'ad sofo. He was righteous from beginning to end.
Wasn't
3 years old, maybe you can say. 75 years old. Huh? Yes, Divrei.
He wasn't what you were saying.
Hu Aharon Moshe. Hu Aharon Moshe. Hen besitkan mitihilatan ve'ad sofan. Good from beginning to end. David hu hakatan. David, he was the little one. Hu bekatnuto mitihilatan ve'ad sofo. He was little from beginning to end, which is a good thing. He was humble. He held himself humble. Keshem, yeah. Keshem shebekatnuto hektina asmo esel mish le'ilom mimeno b'Torah. Just like when he was younger, he made himself small to learn from someone who knew more than him. Kach b'malchuto hektina asmo I esel mish le'ilom mimeno b'Torah. So too, even when he was a king, he lowered himself.
This is all the gemara.
Gemara. So we got Vayhi b'meh Ahashverosh. We have the Vayhi b'meh. We have the Ahashverosh. And we have Hu Ahashverosh. Next word. Hamolech mehodu ve'ad Kush. He ruled from Hodu to Kush. Amarav shemalach me'atzmo. Hamolech. What does that have to say? He ruled. He was the king.
Crowned himself.
He made himself king on his own. Amrila le'shebach ve'amrila le'gnai. Some people say it's a good thing he did, and some people say it's a negative thing. Amrila le'shebach. Why would it be a positive thing? There was no one qualified like he was, and so he became, even though he wasn't from royal blood, he was the most qualified person. And some people say it was for bad. He really was not fit to be king. They come and he paid for the position. Remember, there's a famous midrash that he found a third of Korach's money, right? Korach buried his treasure into 3 portions. Ahashverosh found one, and he fought his way to the kingship. Hamolech mehodu ve'ad Kush. Imagine what they could do with every word. Mehodu ve'ad Kush. He ruled from Hodu. What's Hodu? Maybe. Ve'hodu ve'ad Kush. From Hodu to Kush. Rab Ushmuel. Ben Shai says, hold on. Rab Ushmuel. Rab and Shmuel have a mahloket. Hadamar Hodu besof ha'olam, ve'chush besof ha'olam. They're on opposite ends of the world. The Hadamar Hodu ve'chush gabe hadadeha ve'kaimi. And the other one holds no, they're neighboring cities like this. Hodu and Kush. Keshem shemala. So why would you tell me Hamolech me Hodu ve'ad Kush? It's like saying he was in charge from Chandler Boulevard to Burbank Boulevard. 127. So this says no. Keshem shemalach al Hodu ve'Kush. Just like he has these two. Just like he was next door. Yes. Just like this, you can say in Melachim, 10 points for who. You tell me who this is. Who's it talking about? He ruled over the whole Ever Anahad. Mitifsah, from Tifsah ve'ad Azza, until Gaza. Who is it talking about? Shlomo HaMelech. Shlomo HaMelech ruled from Tifsah till Gaza. And they have the same mahloket. Rav Shmuel. Hadamar Tifsah b'sof ha'olam ve'Azza b'sof ha'olam. One says Tifsah is all the way here and Azza is all the way there. Hadamar Tifsah ve'Azza b'hadeh hadadeh habu kaimi. The other one said no, they're right next to each other.
They're all the same sheet.
Keshem shemalach al Tifsah ve'al Azza. Kach malach kol ha'olam kulo. Ben Ish Hai says must be that the mahloket between Rav and Shmuel would also depend on whether these cities are the cities we know today. So if you say Hodu and Kush were right next to each other, then Hodu must be India, he says. He says, Ben Ish Hai says, but if you say Hodu and Kush on the other opposite ends of the world, then Hodu must not be India. And you can say the same thing for Azza. Says the Ben Ish Hai. He says, I'll show you what he writes. Hodu ve'akush. If you say they were next to each other, Yesh lomad, you can say, Hodu. Sorry, if you say they were on the other sides of the world, There was a Medina called Hodu. Ve'enzu Hindiya. It's not India. Shikurin ata al heleka Nadstan. Nadastan. You know what that is? I don't know what that is.
Nothing stamp.
Nadastan. Not the India we call now. Oh, my phone's about to die. Ach, lemad amar Hodu ve'kush tzimichia had if you hold Hodu and Kush next to each other, vadai Hodu is helik India. For sure, this Hodu is India, which is next to Kush, and Kush shenikra Habash. Kush is Habash. What's Habash?
But it's Africa.
Africa? That's what he says. Kush is
It's not so close.
Beda. And he has a whole piece here, which I don't really understand a lot of it. Ki olam denakit kan lav al kol alakmim. I think he's trying to say it's not the whole globe. Alakmim. Alkamim. You know what that is? Right. So he said, Ela'idi be'alakim shaya Moshe ba'hashvash shuhelik asaya. Asaya. He's only talking about certain continents, I think he's saying. I don't know. וזה העולם בפני עצמו, כי הוא חלק גדול ומוקדם היה מלא מדינות גדולות, ועליהם נקט המספר במגילה. It's not talking about the whole globe, just this area. אך מלבד המדינות היו גם כן עיירות הרבה מאוד, וגם כפרים יותר ויותר, ובזמנו היו רוב בני האדם יושבים בחלק אסיה. Everyone lived in Asya in those days.
Oh, Asia.
What is Asya?
Asia.
Asia. Thank you.
Asia.
וכל המדבר הזה, all this talk, שו על הנהרות חידקל ופירת, and Euphrates, היה ישוב של מדינות ועיירות וכפרים, וכך היה ישוב הרבה במדבר ארץ ישראל וסביבותיה, אך ודאי לא הגיע למלכות אחשוורוש באירופה ואפריקה וג'ינה. ג'ינה?
Guinea.
גיני.
Guinea.
וכל שכן שלא הגיע בארץ אמריקן, שלא נגלית עדיין. The Ben Shai saying not the whole world, literally. Interesting, Ben Shai. There's a whole thing. Interesting. Okay. One more piece. I'm going to end this before it dies.
How do you have control of all these countries?
So he just said no.
Enough people, enough power.
No, Ben Shai